Have you ever taken a sip of milk, believing it was the purest, safest, and healthiest thing you could drink? We've been told since childhood that milk is a superfood, strong bones, strong teeth, energy for the whole day. But what if I told you that one very common type of milk, the one sitting in your fridge right now, could silently be raising your risk of a stroke, and you might not even know it until it's too late? As a brain doctor, I've spent years studying how the smallest daily habits can change the way your brain functions, for better or for worse. And nothing shocked me more than discovering that something as innocent as a glass of milk could have a dark side. A hidden risk powerful enough to increase your chance of blood clots, blocked arteries, and even a sudden stroke overnight. Think about it. We trust milk. We give it to our children before bed. We mix it with tea, coffee, smoothies. We see athletes drinking it after workouts. But here's the scary part. Not all milk is the same. Some forms of milk contain a dangerous cocktail of fats, additives, and hidden chemicals that don't just nourish your body, they attack it. They sneak into your bloodstream, stiffen your arteries, and quietly increase the pressure inside your brain. And the most terrifying part? You probably drink it without a second thought. Now imagine this. You go to sleep tonight, thinking you've made a healthy choice, but inside your body, that one glass of milk is working against you, thickening your blood, making your vessels less flexible, and putting massive strain on your brain's delicate network of arteries. The result? The next morning, you could wake up feeling dizzy, disoriented, or not wake up at all. That's how dangerous this hidden milk habit can be. And here's what really shocks me. Millions of people across the world are still drinking this type of milk every single day, completely unaware of the risk. Doctors rarely talk about it. Ads never mention it. And most health influencers, they ignore it. Why? Because the truth about this milk is not convenient. It's controversial, and it could shake the very foundation of what we've been taught for decades about healthy eating. But in this video, I'm going to break the silence. I'll reveal exactly which milk raises your stroke risk, how it damages your brain, and most importantly, what safer alternatives you should be drinking instead. If you care about your brain, your family, and your future health, you cannot afford to miss this. Because trust me, once you learn the truth, you'll never look at milk the same way again. Let me take you into a story. Imagine this. It's late at night. A man in his early 40s, healthy looking, just finished dinner with his family. He decides to drink one last glass of milk before going to bed. Why not? He grew up hearing it's good for him. Calcium for his bones, protein for his muscles, comfort for his sleep. He drinks it, feels satisfied, and drifts off. But while he sleeps, something else happens. Inside his body, the milk he trusted is quietly reshaping his blood chemistry. Instead of calming his system, it begins to thicken his blood, stress his arteries, and push his brain to its limit. By morning, he's dizzy, his speech is slurred, and within hours, he's rushed to the hospital. Diagnosis? Stroke. Now, here's the chilling part. This story isn't rare. And what's scarier is that it doesn't always take years of bad habits. It can be triggered by just one wrong choice, repeated night after night. So, what exactly is hiding in this milk? The illusion of healthy milk. Milk has always been sold to us as nature's perfect food, but the truth is more complicated. There are different kinds of milk: whole milk, skim milk, plant-based milk, raw milk, powdered milk, flavored milk, and not all of them are safe for your brain. In fact, one very common type of milk, yes, the same one found in almost every supermarket, contains 3 dangerous elements that silently damage your arteries. Saturated fats that clog your vessels like grease in a kitchen drain, growth hormones that don't just grow bones, they also accelerate growth where you don't want it, like in dangerous plaques inside arteries.
and hidden sugars and additives that spike inflammation in the brain and body, setting the stage for strokes. But here's the real kicker. The body doesn't give you an immediate warning. There's no alert light flashing in your head. The damage builds quietly, drip by drip, until suddenly, snap, one artery clogs, one vessel bursts, and everything changes overnight. The brain's silent scream. Your brain is a greedy organ. It makes up only 2% of your body weight, but it consumes about 20% of all your oxygen and nutrients. That means it depends heavily on healthy blood flow. Now, picture your blood vessels like a highway system, smooth, flexible, traffic moving fast. But when you drink the wrong kind of milk, it's like pouring sticky tar onto that highway. The fat and additives slow everything down. Traffic jams form, pressure builds, and in the brain, even the smallest blockage can be catastrophic. A blood clot, the size of a grain of rice, can stop oxygen from reaching millions of brain cells. And unlike other cells in your body, once brain cells die, they don't come back. That's how strokes steal memories, speech, even the ability to walk. And it all begins with something as ordinary as the milk you pour into your morning coffee. The overnight risk. Now, here's where it gets even scarier. People assume strokes only happen to the elderly, but new research shows strokes are rising alarmingly among people under 50. And one reason is diet, especially hidden everyday habits like milk. When you drink high-fat, high-additive milk before bed, here's what happens while you sleep. Blood thickens. The saturated fats change the consistency of your blood, making clots more likely. Blood pressure rises. The body processes the sugar and additives, stressing your cardiovascular system. Vessels stiffen. Instead of resting, your arteries tighten under chemical strain. So instead of giving your brain the peaceful reset it needs, this milk primes it for disaster. You close your eyes thinking you're nourishing your body, but you're actually setting a trap for your brain. The shocking study doctors ignored. A few years ago, a European study tracked tens of thousands of adults. Researchers noticed something strange. People who drank a certain type of milk daily had a dramatically higher risk of stroke compared to those who didn't. The difference wasn't tiny. It was shocking. But here's the most disturbing part. This study barely made headlines. Why? Because the milk industry is massive. Billions of dollars depend on keeping milk's healthy image alive. So instead of blasting warnings, the findings stayed buried in academic journals that most people never see. As a brain doctor, reading that data felt like a punch to the gut. I had patients asking me, "What's the healthiest bedtime drink?" And I used to say, "A warm glass of milk." After seeing the research, I could never give that answer again. Why haven't you heard this before? You might be wondering, if this is so dangerous, why isn't everyone talking about it? The answer is uncomfortable. Milk has one of the strongest marketing machines in the world. Remember those Got Milk ads? Celebrities with milk mustaches, smiling, promising health and strength? That campaign wasn't about science, it was about selling. Behind the scenes, powerful lobbying groups ensure that critical voices are silenced or ignored. Even many doctors hesitate to speak out, fearing backlash or ridicule. But the truth is the truth, whether or not it's convenient. And the truth is, the wrong milk can kill. The psychological trap. Here's where human psychology makes it worse. Milk isn't just food, it's comfort. It's tied to childhood memories, bedtime routines, and cultural traditions. That emotional attachment blinds us. We assume, if it feels good and it's always been around, it must be safe. But history shows us that familiar doesn't always mean harmless. Remember when doctors once recommended cigarettes? Remember when sugar was advertised as energy food? We laugh at that now, but what if milk is today's hidden danger, hiding in plain sight? Your brain deserves better. So, what should you do? I'll get into safer alternatives in later chapters, but here's your first step. Stop trusting the label on the carton. Don't assume that because it says organic or low fat, it's automatically safe for your brain. Instead, start asking, what type of milk is this really? How was it processed? What additives were included? And most importantly, how does it affect my brain's delicate blood flow? Because at the end of the day, it's not about following tradition or advertising. It's about protecting the one organ that defines who you are, your brain. A cliffhanger for what's next. Now you know this. Milk is not as innocent as it seems. But I haven't yet revealed the worst offender, the exact type of milk most strongly linked to strokes, dementia, and sudden brain damage. It's not the one most people suspect. In fact, millions of households drink it every night, thinking it's healthier. In the next chapter, I'll uncover which milk is the silent killer and how even one glass can push your brain towards the edge.
Imagine this. You come home after a long day, feeling tired, maybe even proud that you've made a healthy choice. You open the fridge, pour yourself a tall, cold glass of milk, and think, I'm doing something good for my body. But what if I told you that the very thing you believe is nourishing you could, in fact, be silently setting you up for a life-threatening stroke overnight? As a brain doctor, I've seen countless patients who thought their lifestyle was safe. They didn't smoke, they didn't drink alcohol, they even stayed active. And yet, one morning, their family found them collapsed on the floor, unable to move half their body, or worse, gone forever. When we looked deeper into their diet, one everyday item kept showing up again and again. Milk. Yes, milk. The same white liquid we've been told since childhood is the symbol of health, growth, and strong bones. But what if that belief isn't the whole truth? What if behind its innocent appearance, certain types of milk are quietly wreaking havoc on your brain and blood vessels? The myth of healthy milk. For decades, advertising campaigns have drilled it into our minds. Milk does the body good. Smiling children with milk mustaches, athletes holding a glass of cold milk after training, parents urging their kids to drink it for strong bones. And to be fair, milk does contain beneficial nutrients, calcium, protein, vitamins. But here's the problem. Nutrients don't work in isolation. Milk isn't just calcium and protein. It also carries elements that can trigger dangerous chain reactions inside your body. What you think is strengthening you might actually be hardening the very blood vessels that keep your brain alive. The stroke connection. Now, let's break this down in plain human terms. A stroke happens when blood flow to your brain is suddenly blocked. Imagine a highway carrying oxygen-rich blood to your brain cells. One wrong traffic jam, a clot, a blockage, or a burst blood vessel, and within minutes, brain cells begin to die. That's why strokes are called brain attacks. They don't wait. They don't warn. They strike suddenly, often in the middle of the night. And here's where milk enters the story. Studies have shown that certain kinds of fats and proteins in milk can increase bad cholesterol, LDL. This leads to plaque buildup inside arteries, thicken the blood, making clots more likely to form, trigger inflammation in blood vessels, a silent enemy that weakens your arteries over time. The worst part? You don't feel it happening. You drink your glass of milk, go to bed, and while you sleep, your blood vessels may already be narrowing, stiffening, or clotting. A patient's story. Let me tell you about one of my patients. Let's call him Imran. Imran was in his late 40s. He had no major health problems, no diabetes, no smoking, no alcohol. He was the kind of man who believed in simple living. And every night before bed, he had a large glass of full-fat milk. One morning, his wife found him on the floor. Half of his body was paralyzed, his speech slurred. By the time he reached the hospital, we diagnosed him with a massive stroke. When I sat with his family, they were shocked. But doctor, he was healthy. He didn't do anything wrong. Except he did. He was unknowingly overloading his body with dangerous fats and inflammatory proteins from that nightly habit. And for his brain, it was one drop too many. The hidden risk no one talks about. Here's the scary truth. Not all milk is the same. Some milk is loaded with saturated fats that clog arteries. Others contain hormones and growth factors that can fuel inflammation. And the sugar in milk, lactose, can spike insulin, leading to hidden metabolic stress. Yet the dairy industry never highlights these risks. Why would they? Billions of dollars are made every year convincing people that milk is their health savior. But as a brain doctor, I've learned the hard way that what looks harmless in your kitchen can be deadly in your bloodstream. Why overnight is the most dangerous time? You might wonder, why overnight? Why is drinking milk before bed especially risky? The answer lies in how your body works while you sleep. At night, your metabolism slows down. This means fats and sugars in milk are processed less efficiently. Blood pressure naturally drops, which can make the brain more vulnerable if clots form. The body enters repair mode, but if inflammation is already brewing, this repair can backfire, leading to vessel damage. So while you rest, the perfect storm may be gathering in your arteries. That's why so many strokes happen in the early morning hours. The suspense you can't ignore. Here's the most unsettling part. You may not notice a single symptom before it's too late. Unlike heart disease, which sometimes shows warning signs like chest pain, strokes can arrive silently. One night you're fine. The next morning, you or someone you love can't speak, move, or even survive. And to think, it could be triggered by something as simple as the milk in your fridge. What you'll discover next. Now, before you panic, let me be clear. Not all milk is deadly, but knowing which types are dangerous and how they attack your brain overnight could save your life. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the exact kinds of milk most strongly linked to stroke risk, the hidden ingredients that turn a healthy glass into a brain hazard, and safer alternatives you can switch to so you never have to live in fear of your bedtime habits ever again. Stay with me, because what I reveal next might just change the way you look at milk forever.
So now you know. Something as innocent as a glass of milk, the same drink we grew up thinking was the ultimate symbol of health, purity, and strength, may not always be the harmless friend we imagined. The research is clear. Not all milk is created equal. Some types of milk, especially those high in certain fats, additives, or processed in ways that strip away natural benefits, can place hidden stress on the heart and blood vessels. Over time, that stress can quietly increase the risk of stroke. And the scariest part? You won't feel it happening. Most people sip their milk at night believing they're nourishing their body, never realizing they could be fueling inflammation, thickening the blood, and triggering dangerous changes in their arteries. It's like a silent alarm clock ticking inside your body, one that doesn't ring until it's too late. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. Now that you understand the risks, you can take control. Instead of blindly reaching for the same carton every day, you can choose smarter options. Look for low-fat or plant-based alternatives that cut down harmful saturated fats. Choose milk that's free from added hormones and excess processing. Balance your diet with fiber-rich foods, antioxidants, and healthy fats that protect the brain and heart. Stroke is not something that strikes out of nowhere. For most people, it builds quietly through years of small daily choices. And while a single glass of milk won't ruin your health overnight, a consistent habit of drinking the wrong kind of milk just might. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you because as a doctor, I've seen too many patients who wish they had been warned earlier. People who thought they were eating healthy, but ended up in hospital beds asking me the same painful question. Why didn't anyone tell me? Now you know. And now the choice is in your hands. Next time you pour that glass of milk, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this fueling my health? Or is it silently increasing my risk? Your brain, your heart, your life. they're all worth protecting. So don't just drink milk. Drink it wisely. Because sometimes the smallest changes in your daily habits are the ones that save your life. If you found this eye-opening, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. You might save their life. And if you want more science-backed health insights explained simply and clearly, hit the subscribe button.